Fairfield Center School. The time is 6:08. We have 9 directors present representing 8 boards. We start with the review of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes they need to make to the agenda? Why? So I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda. Mike, second?
Second.
Thank you, Al. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Agenda is approved 8-0. Ask everyone to please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. I think we have a relatively short meeting tonight. Realizing that as soon as this meeting is over, we're going to open it up for a special Q&A session with the community. But are there any visitors here tonight that would like to address this board during the official meeting? Beth?
Just a comment on the Q&A meeting. I'm not sure that it was well publicized. And a lot of people probably didn't know what was happening. So just a thought there. I had been in a discussion about it, but I didn't know that it had been set until about the agenda. So I apologize for the poor turnout already. But, okay, just a comment there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Then we'll move on to our host site presentation. Dr. Lill, welcome back.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? Do I need a microphone? No. Oh. Okay, excellent. Teacher voice. Welcome to Fairfield Center School. I thank you for being here tonight. My board report is attached in the attachments to the agenda, so please have a look there. I want to introduce you to Project Sweet Talk. Now, you've heard of Project Sweet Talk over many years, I'm sure, but some of you may not know exactly what we do. And this is a school-wide effort, and it starts in first grade, where students actually begin maple tasting and writing opinion pieces on maple syrup. In second grade, they study states of matter in sugaring. Third grade, they map all of the locations where maple sugaring happens throughout our community. In fourth grade, they study the process of sugaring and sugaring product. Fifth grade studies the sugar maple tree, the sugar bush, and the biodiversity of the sugar bush. Sixth grade does an oral history project called In Their Own Words, which puts our students into the community and helps them to understand the past, present, and future of maple sugaring. And they conduct interviews with our local sugar makers. And actually, throughout the building, as you walked in, you can see the black posters, and those are some of the sugarers that we've interviewed throughout the years. And 7th grade markets our maple products, and 8th grade actually taps, gathers, and boils in our own sugar house, which is such a neat thing. And I know I kind of am pontificating a little bit about it because it's my first time as principal to go through Project Sweet Talk, and I just really felt like it was a very special event. And that's why this evening I wanted some of our students to come and share their projects with Project Sweet Talk. So I want to thank the students who are here. So Logan Hughes, you're back there. Logan, stand up and say hi. And then her sister Addie is right next to her. That's Addie Hughes. And then we've got, that's Patience Getty right there. That was going to be Nick, but Nick's a little further down. There's Nick Farinaccio. And then that's Maggie Bates and Amelia Rushford. So they were all here tonight to help us understand a little bit about what their Project Sweet Talk projects were. Of course, we have John Baxter here, who is doing taste testing for some different grades of maple syrup. Maple syrup is on sale at a hefty premium because you are school board members. And John runs our sugaring operation and has for a number of years, and has displayed some of the blue ribbons that we win at the Maple Festival every year from the beautiful syrup that the students make. And it's quite a project, and we have some of our teachers here who are involved in Project Sweet Talk. And actually, we fill the entire gym on Project Sweet Talk Day with projects just like that and posters that the kids had made. And truly, this is intended to connect the students to our community. This is such a big part of Fairfield and Franklin County and Vermont. And if we hope that our children are going to stay here in the future, then we need them to be connected to what we do here. And Project Sweet Talk is a great way to do that. And I tell you from the beginning, the first graders and the kindergartners, they look forward to being 8th graders and making the maple syrup one day. So that's a really special thing that we have have going here that just really makes a big difference in the lives of these kids, and hopefully in the life of the community if they stay here and then open maple sugaring what's the word, companies or something like that, industry, they get into it. I do want to invite you to join us on May 19th. That's Fairfield's Got Talent, where all of our fabulously talented students are going to be performing. That is Saturday at 6 p.m. I will not be performing, so please come. And that is all I have for you this evening, but I would like to introduce Beth Horrigan, who would talk to you just a little bit about some exciting news for Fuel Up to Play 60.
Back in January, I think it was, maybe later, about the Fuel Up to Play 60 program, which is now in 73,000 schools nationwide. And as you know, we had a student ambassador hit points, and we were very proud of her. Well, that student ambassador is now our state ambassador, selected from hundreds of applications. So we have a state ambassador, Hannah Brannon, and she will be flown, and Roxanne Belhandy will be going to Atlanta, Georgia for a week this summer, all expenses paid, down to the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the next Super Bowl will be played, and she will be there with approximately 300 other student leaders from across the nation, from 6th to 12th grade. And so she will be there learning leadership skills and doing all kinds of really cool things. But the kicker is we have had 3 other students invited to pay their own way and go to this, which has never happened before. So we have 3 other students that are going to do a little bit of fundraising, and their parents have agreed that they will be joining the selected state ambassador to do leadership skill learning and problem solving and all of that good stuff. Last week, we took 7 teenagers, lovely, to the Gillette Stadium. We were invited for a leadership celebration. So we took 7 of our students who had enough points and had done enough leadership activities to go, and we took them to Gillette for a celebration. And the thing that was amazing to me is I've been to these before, but the number of high schools in New England that are now embracing this program for leadership skills. Warren Buffett is a huge proponent of it now and is giving out, I think it's 6 $25,000 scholarships to seniors this year at the National Summit. He does an AdCap program where he will take 5 from each region and have them come to his place in California and eat lunch with them, and they get money for a little program. A little girl, a 7th grader in New Hampshire, just did that 2 months ago. And it has a smoothie program going at their school. Nothing new for us, but something new for them. So the leadership skills in this program are phenomenal, and we are very well represented in Fairfield for this. This is our 3rd state ambassador in 10 years, so that speaks well. Noah Carpenter was one of my ambassadors. He was there 7 years ago. He just got all kinds of leadership awards in the high school level, and he sent me a note saying it all started from somebody believing in him when he was in 4th grade. So it's good for the program. BFA, I'd love to talk to you about it. City and town, I'd love to get it in your schools. There's a $4,000 grant that we're writing right now, so we can get up to $4,000 a year for any school that's participatory. So we're proud.
Thank you. And of course, we would have had students here to talk about this as well, except that everybody is playing every sport right now and nobody is available. So thank you all.
So I would say, Sean, a very impressive presentation over there. And the kids gave.
They did a nice job.
Patience answered all of my stupid questions. Thanks for that. It was really good. Okay, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Tonight we have on the consent agenda the approval of the minutes from 2 May and a number of grants. Does anybody have any reason to pull those from the consent agenda?
Explanations to, as you mentioned, staff resignations.
Here too.
And staff resignation. Okay, so if there's no objections, then these items will be adopted. Are there any objections? No objections, these items are adopted. No old business tonight. Item 8 is new business, set prices for school breakfast and lunch for FY19. Martha, is that you?
That's me. So I have given each board member a handout that shows, at the bottom half shows the prices that were set for the current year, FY18, and the top half is the recommendation for FY19 school year. We are still under the federal target of $2.92 for paid lunches for students. So we continue to have to work with the, what they call the paid lunch price equity tool, which is the information that's on the second page. Which basically what that says is you've got to put in a formula as to what you're charging, how many meals are served, and if you haven't reached the target of $2.92, you have to increase your hot lunch prices, and it basically tells you how much you have to each year. Because we are a merged school district, we actually can do it in a way that we are doing a weighted average this time. So we don't necessarily have to increase the price at every school. We can do it in a different format. And by having that weighted average, we need to come out with a weighted average of $2.45 price. And the recommendation is that we increase the BFA lunch price by 5 cents and the SATEC lunch price by 5 cents. And that brings us to the target of the $2.45. And the reason I'm recommending that we increase BFA's rate still by 5 cents is that looking at the individual programs, BFA is still struggling to cover costs. So that's why I'm recommending that we split the 10-cent required increase between those two school buildings for FY19. So basically what I'm recommending is breakfast prices stay the same. All the adult breakfast and lunch prices stay the same. We would be increasing St. Albans Town's hot lunch price by 5 cents from $2.15 to $2.20, and BFA's hot lunch price from $2.70 to $2.75 for FY19.
Is it all the same company that does the meals?
It is the same contractor, yes.
So help me understand why it's different between Fairfield City and Town.
It's different because when they were individual contracts, the individual school districts had to set the prices for the individual school districts. And depending on where they started, when the federal government decided we needed to start looking at the paid meal prices and use this tool to increase those prices to get to the state and the federal target, every school was at a different place to start with. And this tool requires that you keep working towards getting to the $2.92. It can't require you to increase your price more than 10 cents in any given year. And so because they were at all different places, we've been incrementally increasing them, but they were all still at different places.
And it was up to individual boards.
So because
Yeah.
we're one district now,
That's
we can put the brakes on Fairfield.
Fairfield,
because
yeah.
They're higher.
Yeah,
And start moving the other school.
correct.
So the
Right.
goal is to get them all at the same level?
Yes, it is. And we could do it in a fashion where we didn't increase BFA, but we bumped up towns by 10 cents. It would still get us to that weighted average. But like I said, when I'm looking at the individual programs in each of the schools, BFA still could use a little boost in the income side of the program.
When this all washes out, will BFA be generally higher because they're high school?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. At some point here, real close, BFA will probably be stagnant for a while until we get the other schools up there.
Well, why do you break it out over elementary, middle, lunch, and high school?
Because you can have a higher rate for the high school level. And it was always broken out that way, and now that you're mentioning it, doesn't necessarily need to be. broken out that way.
But isn't it a much different program? I mean, my kids don't eat hot lunch at BFA, but my sense was it a much different program than the program that you get at the...
So this rate that we're setting is for the meal that is served that is reported as a, what's the word I'm trying to think of? The reimbursable meal. This is not taken into consideration any a la carte
Okay.
or any other purchases that you can make in the hot lunch program. This is for the reimbursable meals. They have to have certain requirements on their tray. The a la carte items are all priced based on the cost of the individual item being served.
Are the contracts, are we still working on the old contracts?
We're still working with 4 individual contracts,
Yeah.
but they're all with the same
Yeah, I
company
know.
at
So
this point.
when do we get to make that one?
I'm hoping that we will do it not next year, but the following year, which is the year that it's required that I put it back out to bid.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be coming to the board at a future meeting here within the next couple of months, requesting the renewal of the contracts. But we need to set the prices at this point.
So I'd look for a motion to set this schedule. Thank you, Al. As recommended by administration. Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion on these? All right, hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Approved 8-0.
Thank you.
Brings us to 8B, which is elementary transfer update for FY19. And that over to Dr. Chris.
So as the board knows, this is the second year of the procedure that we put in place to allow some students to transfer from one elementary school in the district to another elementary school in the district through a lottery system. And you asked last year to be informed of what that looked like. So I wanted to, it being the second year, I wanted to tell you again, so you have a good update of what it looks like. We had 19 requests this year. And as you know, we do it through a lottery system of 10 people. So we did it through a lottery. We actually chose 13 people. The reason why is because you also this year added the caveat that staff members were able to bring their, transfer their students to another school, whether they'd like to have their kids with them, or in some cases, they want their kids without them. And we had 3 staff members who did that, and it doesn't count within the 10.
Those are outside the lottery.
Correct. Correct. So we had, from those 3, they were all kindergartners, 1 going to Saks and 2 going to St. Then the 10 that were in the lottery, we took 10. We had 1 kindergarten going to Fairfield. We have 6 kindergarten going to SATEC. 1 3rd grader going to SATEC. 1 7th grader going to SATEC. And 1 8th grader going to SATEC. For 10.
So of the 19 requests, were the 3 staff part of those 19 or in addition to those?
They were included in the 19. So there are 6 people who didn't get their requests in the lottery. And of course, they have the opportunity, if they wish to reapply next year. It's been a smooth program. More people are aware of it now. I think they're very appreciative of it. And it's worked out very nicely.
And all of it went last year or staying?
Yep.
Did anything go back?
I believe so, yes. I haven't heard of anyone going back.
Those 10, are any of those families, or are they all individual?
Family, oh, well, there are a couple siblings who got priority because the year before, one of their family members got in. So they did get priority in the lottery.
Gotcha.
So we don't break up families.
Nice, thank you.
So as this grows, we may have to look at that again because you're going to have more and more siblings.
Possibly. Right now, it hasn't been broken.
So how did you come up with the number 10 originally?
It was, we wanted to start low to see how it works. And we went with 10. I think it's worked quite well. It wasn't a random number, but the board felt, and we felt that we should start slow and low to see how that works. And I think that was the right idea. It's difficult for the schools to have major numbers, make changes all in 1 year.
So how will that look for the 6 kids going to SATEC kindergarten? Was it 6 going to SATEC for kindergarten?
Yeah.
Will that change like the class numbers or anything like that?
No, and the procedure is very specific that if there's an issue with class size because of these requests, then they can't get the request. So the first thing we do is we go to our principals and say, okay, let's take this case, there are 6 going to the SATEC. Can you take that with the class sizes you have? If they can't, we have to go back to them and say we can't take it. So it still stays within the realm of what we need for staff.
So when you say it's a lottery, is it just like you pick 10 names out of the hat?
Yep.
Or do you actually, so it was just by random that it was, or maybe most of the kids were kindergarten kids? Was it, you know what I mean, like?
I think there's more, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think because pre-K is kind of all over the place in buildings and things, that it's the pre-K parents more than anyone else who then want to make a decision about where they're going. Because we've got pre-K kids in Barlow Street and in other places, and they're making the decision which school they want to go in.
So I'm trying to figure this out. If you, let's say you picked 10 kids and they were all kindergarten kids, just, random 10 kids, and you couldn't take 10 kindergarten kids, would you then reject 2 of the kindergarten kids and pull out 2 more names out of the hat?
Yep.
And as long as they weren't in kindergarten, then they would get the next one.
Is there any consideration given to students with special needs or any of that sort of thing?
We wanted to make sure, and the board wanted to make sure that we stayed very
I remember that, that's why I asked the question.
objective, so we didn't run into any of those issues.
So if there was a student that would be best served in a different school, maybe through an IEP or something like that, that would be separate from this lottery, or?
Well, generally, no, Mike. All our schools are appropriate for our students' needs. So that we're not going to, other than the lottery, no, we stick to, what we offer, we offer the same in all our schools. So except for the lottery, no, we don't do that. Because then it runs into subjectivity and favoritism and everything else.
Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Sure, go ahead.
How many, so this is the second year that we've done this. 19 people wanted to do it this year. How many wanted to do it last year?
Yeah, so we had 10 out of 10, right? Or
In 2 drops. First time it was like 6.
10.
So
And it was the first year it started, and probably some people didn't know about it as well.
And you aren't recommending any changes?
No.
Anything else? Okay. One item C, which is staff changes. We're going to do this in open session. We have a special ed director position open.
Well, we have sad news and we have very positive news. The sad news is, as you well know, in both cases, you know, Julie is leaving us to go to Franklin Northwest as superintendent. And congratulations to Julie. And as you know from the last meeting, Michelle Spence is, after next year, leaving us to go out to sunny San Diego. So that's the sad news. The positive news is, as you also know, we've had a hard time finding a special ed director so late in the year because Julie got the announcement that she was hired less than a month ago, right? So we've had a real struggle with that. When Michelle found she only had 1 year left, that she'd be here, she has offered to help with this. And what we are recommending is that Joanne Wells, who previously did not want to move she wanted to stay as assistant director, has offered to take the position of director of special ed. And Michelle, who has special ed experience, has a role in pre-K and the LEA for that, has offered for 1 year to take the assistant director position, allowing us a few things. First off, to make sure that we have both things covered for this year, and also allowing us to have a full year to do the job we should be doing and to find a good assistant director position, because Joanne has agreed to stay on after this year for as director. So I thank Michelle for that. It also allows us to then open up the pre-K position and have a candidate there who can come in, and we'll have the opportunity to work with Michelle for a year before she leaves. So it's clean, it's kind of worked out nicely.
So tonight, are you looking for a motion to hire?
We're looking-
Negotiated yet?
We're looking for a motion to hire Joanne Wells as the director of special ed, and hire Michelle Spence as the assistant director of special ed. And we'll be opening up the position of pre-K.
Have you negotiated terms yet?
No, we haven't done that. The salaries aren't going to be much different.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Yeah. So are you going to come back with contracts for the board then?
Yeah.
So what you're really, I think, asking for is the authority to negotiate contracts.
Okay. That would be one.
We can't hire them until we have a contract. And this is for getting
July 1st, 2018.
So do those positions need to be posted? Were they posted? Must be?
Yeah, that's all they've done.
Does anybody require a waiver or anything, or has everybody got the right stuff?
Michelle is in the process of doing what we call a transcript review for the assistant director. However, it's not a necessary, she wants to have that endorsement, but for assistant director, she doesn't need it. But I think she'd like to have it. It would help her, especially as she moves to California, to have that additional endorsement. But we have a license in Joanne that covers it.
questions? All right, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Just clarify the motion. First, it was, the motion was first made to hire them. You're saying that it needs to be a dollar or so. Yeah, well,
So, Al, your motion
it's a negotiation.
is for Kevin, is it for Kevin to negotiate a contract with these two individuals for those positions?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, approved 8-0.
So Michelle is smiling, but I haven't seen Joanne smile.
I didn't hear that.
You're not smiling.
I just said to Julie, what have I done?
Well, Joanne, I'm smiling. And Michelle, I'm smiling about you too. Thank you. That was very good news.
And thanks to both of you for stepping up. All right, item C2, we have some unpaid leave requests. Attachment 8C2, would like 10 days, paraphrase it, would like 10 days unpaid leave, dealing with a family issue. Look for a motion to approve that. So moved. Mike?
Second.
Jack? Any discussion on those? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 8-0. It's approved. Someone will let her know. Item 8D, emergency alerts discussion. Kevin, I'll let you.
So we had one board member who called this week, called the office and asked if she could be placed on our emergency alert.
You can identify her.
Hilda called this week and asked if she could be put on the emergency alert notification system that we have.
Is that also include the snow days?
That's a separate one?
That's a separate, okay. Because I had to opt out of that.
Yeah, that's a separate one.
Okay.
So we thought, not a bad idea, and certainly there's no issue with doing that for Nilda, but we thought we should open it up to other board members if they want to be on the thing too, so that Brenda can add it.
So that's the notice that goes out to parents that there's been a lockdown or
Right. Well,
a clear the hall or a...
I believe it's the next step. It's notice that goes out to people if there's an actual emergency, not the lockdowns, right?
So the request I made was for the one that goes out to the parents. Since I'm no longer a parent of kids in the school, but I work with people that are, as soon as they get that notice, they come see me and I don't know what they're talking about.
Yep. So
what does it include?
The options would be,
Can't hear you, Brenda.
I could add you to our crisis team, which is the administrators in the building, facility people. And they get all of the alerts. There's the threat of some kind.
could you hear that?
No. Brenda, you have
You
to speak
speak
up. We can't hear you.
I could add you to the crisis team, which gets all of the alerts when there's a lockdown or a threat of some kind. Parents don't always get notice of that. It depends. There's so many moving parts. It depends on the situation. Or you can be put on the one where parents get notice, and that is usually by school after. And there's a couple of ways we do it.
And what does that notice look like? Is it to a phone? Is it a text message?
I
Is
can
it
do
an email?
either email, phone, or text message.
From my perspective, I think it just makes sense that board members would know at least that the parents just got a notification of something. We may not have any additional information and probably won't at that juncture, but at least we would get that same notification.
The only thing I just want to make sure you're aware of, because I do get all those notifications, there's lots of them. So just realize that, because it's every school that does a lockdown or any other type of thing. And even within that one lockdown, there's usually 3 or 4 different notifications. We're in it.
I think it's a choice.
So
and
it's a
you're
choice
over-
for you, and
You can opt
there's
out.
no problem. You can opt in, you can opt out. Just understand that you're going to get a lot, but as Jim mentioned, it doesn't have to be a text, or it doesn't have to be a phone call, it can be an email, however you want to work it.
So as you're describing it, this is, I have a son who's a senior, so I'm getting a certain level of those, and what you're discussing is an additional level of alerts that could possibly come through to us as well. So
Yeah, but you being a parent, you get what probably you're most interested in this.
he's graduating this year, so I would otherwise go off that list. So.
Yeah, you would.
You
You fall
would.
off that list because you opt into that when your kid goes to that school.
I kind of like getting them. I think I appreciate getting them in the future,
You know,
at least
it-
on that level of them.
It makes sense that we all be on that, or maybe that's.
Well, is there anyone that does not want it? And you don't have to publicly say it, you can just tell Brenda, but you don't need to be.
I'd be all right for a text, but I don't know.
No, I don't know. That's
Yeah, but
You can
so
get-
as parents,
you
we
can
only
get
get
a
them
That's what
from
you
the
get.
school.
Yes.
Yeah, but, so currently my kids are now at BFA, I only get the ones from BFA, I don't get the ones from Fairfield anymore.
got it. So
Yeah.
So that's the question, do you want to be on?
all 4, 5.
Yes. Can I make a suggestion? Should each board member contact Brenda and talk directly with her as to what level they were looking for, what they would be interested in, and she can explain a little bit clearer on a one-on-one basis as to, text or email or phone and/or which level, which schools.
I think that's where we're going to end up. Yeah. I think this is the first time.
Right.
Okay.
Other questions? Brings us to other business. We have warrants, which is attachment 9A. Thank you, Mike. Can I get a second?
Second.
Milda. Any discussion on the warrants? Any questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the warrants indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Approved 8-0. Superintendent's report.
Short report today and a bit of a repetition. Just, I urge everybody to continue seeing what the legislature has come up with, understanding full well that they're going to be coming back in 2 weeks. But there's an awful lot of stuff on the table that's going to relate to us, around taxes, around funding, around pre-K, around safety. Way too much to talk about, but if you're a Vermont Digger reader or things like that, just try to stay informed on that. I'm not talking huge about it right now because it's going to change again. I've said that before. It's at the point that it's quickly moving, it's very dynamic, and one would think it's done now, but as we know, the governor's threatening to veto many of those, and it's going to change again. So everybody's concerned right now because we just don't know. It's hard for us to know exactly what to do in terms of insurance that they're talking about, in terms of what funding might come up for next year. But we can't fret too much because we have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
It's a lot in limbo.
Property taxes, health insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Sean, back to you.
My report is attached. The only thing I'd like to add is thanks to Heather Fitzgibbons for filling in for me here at Fairfield while I was out for 3 weeks. She did a great job by all accounts. The kids and the teachers certainly appreciated having her here. And I want to thank Chris and Preston and Jeff and Shannon and everybody who was at BFA picking up the slack while Heather was here. And certainly was comforting knowing that the school was in good hands while I was gone. And I came back to everything just the way it should be. So thank you very much.
It was such a great experience.
Pleasure was all mine.
It's awesome.
Agenda items for next meeting. Board retreat, CIP approval, drug and alcohol policy update or report. That's to do with the marijuana legalization, effective. Update on conscious discipline.
Yeah,
That's for June.
yep.
Okay. Rise VT, is that a presentation?
Rise Vermont will be coming in and doing a presentation, yes.
Curriculum. Anything else? Okay, we have no executive session for tonight. Since we are through our agenda, we are adjourned. So we will move right into the Q&A meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. Skip right over the principal.
Chris looked really upset, too. I can see it from here.
Go, Chris.
So I just have two things that I wanted to mention to you. One is, it was 2 weekends ago, we had our prom, and then the night before was our Bob Mike Comet. And these are more than just social events. They're really part of the rich traditions of the school, but also we're celebrating certainly the beginning of the graduation season. And when we drill down a little bit, a lot of this is connected to students' social learning. We talk about the transferable skills, the being in formal situations, kids performing at Bob White Comet, taking risks. There's actually a lot of good life skills that go into these events, and the beauty of it is that both went off beautifully, and our kids, you know, are just so well poised, and I think our parents and our communities have a lot to be proud of. It's the way our kids have been able to handle themselves, and it's a little bit of regret because we don't want to see kids move forward because we get attached to them, but we wish them all the best. And those are just a couple of nice ways in which we can recognize and appreciate them, and we'll keep you informed about all the graduation activities and events that are coming up very quickly as we say goodbye to the class of 2018. It's been a nice group, and we've worked hard, and a lot of accomplishments, and I want to invite everybody to help with the celebration.
Dave?
We're happy to host the district art show this week. Invite you all to stop by Collins Pearly to take a look at the art from all the different schools within the district. It includes original drawings, photographs, sculpture, and sewing. It's an art form, and the kids have done a great job, and the quality is very nice, and the exhibits are nice, and a lot of people are getting to see it. We hope that you'll be amongst them.
So, exciting time for the seniors, a lot of student recognitions. I want to mention specifically, there's a tradition at BFA with a board award that started with the Board of Trustees when BFA was a private school. And the spirit and the intent of the award is to recognize 2 students whose journey to a high school diploma maybe has not been a smooth one, that they've overcome some challenges, have shown a lot of growth in how they've done that, and who might, for a variety of reasons, not get recognized in other ways. And I think that's an important recognition. It is in the name of the board, and so the school counselors are prepared with a couple of nominations, and Mr. Farr and I are trying to work out the details of how we can maintain the surprise of who's getting it for graduation, and respect the confidentiality of some of those circumstances that would lead a student to be considered for the award, but still have board involvement in it, in that decision making.
See a pattern here. I have 2 events to share with you. One that just happened on Monday, our National Technical Honor Society. We inducted over 30 students. They excelled and were the top 10% of their class in academics and technical skill, and also the transferable skills. And I want to thank Susan Cassavant Magnet for attending. Hope you enjoyed the night. We enjoyed some delicious treats afterwards from culinary students. And then today, plus the casual dress, we had our annual community and field day. And we had over 200 students that dispersed in the community and performed community service. And then we all met at the Bay and had another delicious meal from our culinary program. And I got to participate in the three-legged race.
So I think the other great thing about that presentation was that Kayla McCarter got that huge award, that the first student, like 15 years that the other lady had been there, she was the first. I don't know what that award was, but it sounds like it was a big award. She won
yes,
the
through
national...
through VSAC.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
yeah.
We'll be announcing that again at our appreciation night, so yes.
Kayla from Fairfield.
Lisa?
In June, we will be hosting the board meeting, and what we'll be highlighting is the adult education. So you'll be hearing more about that in June.
Stacy?
Yeah, two things. One, we have a group of students in 5th through 8th grade who are preparing today to go down to a presentation in Lake Maury for the VSA, which I think stands for the Vermont Superintendents Association. Am I right? Yeah, they're going to be presenting stewardship projects May 25th.
Yep.
Yes.
And the Vermont Council of Special Education Director.
As well?
As well.
Okay. So they were preparing today to do that. And the second thing is, as you all know, we've been bragging about hosting conscious discipline at St. Albans City School. We have 145 participants, and there's a waiting list now. And I got to view the list today, and they're coming from Washington, West Virginia, California. People from all over are coming to conscious discipline, and it starts June 25th. It's a Monday through a Sunday. And it's pretty much a 12-hour day. They give you a break at dinner, obviously. But so if anyone wants to just come by and stand in the back and get a feel for what it's like, please do that. We would appreciate it.
Are the kids who are coming down next week going to be practicing again at some point?
They were getting their presentation together today. I'm not sure about when they're practicing again, but they do have a PowerPoint, and I'm sure at some point they would be happy to come and
I'd like to
show what they've done, if you're interested in seeing it. And Nilda, if you want to come to conscious discipline any of those days to get a better idea,
I appreciate the
you can be
invitation.
drop-in. Anyone can be drop-in.
Jason?
Not a lot, just want to mention a couple upcoming concerts. Our spring chorus concert is, I believe, May 31st, and our band's concert is going to be on June 7th. Details are in the events for times and stuff on our website. If you haven't heard our band this year, they're doing really well. We're really excited. Numbers are up. They sound great. We're disappointed that they couldn't march at Maple Festival. We understood with the rain and rental instruments, it's not a great combination. So if you haven't had a chance to hear them play this year, come on out and give a listen. They're really doing great. Angela.
So I had a couple of items. We're knee-deep in the SBAC assessments, as the other K-8s are as well. And want to offer some well wishes for our Odyssey team that's heading out to Ames, Iowa next week for the World's competition. They've worked really hard raising money and getting their project ready, so they'll be headed out for most of next week. And just on the wellness angle, there's a few things I wanted to mention. Our fitness team did very well when they went to the competition last week, and we had 2 first place finishers in the push-ups, and we had 2 first place overall students, and that's a middle school fitness competition. We are also participating in our Walking Wednesday now regularly, that the weather has improved, so that's excellent. We have excellent participation in that. And we had many of our students in the Run for Gym, and one of the girls came running in on that Monday morning, and we have the trophy because we had the most students running in the Run for Gym. So trying to promote the activity and the wellness across many settings and keep the kids active. So just a couple items there.
This past Monday, we had 5 of our students selected to travel down to Montpelier to the College of Fine Arts for the Congressional Art Award, which is a juried art competition. The winner from the state, there were students from all over the state, the winner from the state goes down to Washington, D.C. We had several students who received the Congressional Choice Award, which is Congressman Welch chooses which one is his favorite. I know Katie Spalding is one of our students that received that. So it was just nice to travel down there and see the work from students all over Vermont, and then to sit in on the ceremony where each student goes up across the stage and receives a certificate from Congressman Welch. It's a great experience.
They got all the principals? Great, now we're adjourned. I think we can go ahead and we can release the administrators and staff if they want. They can stay if they want, and they can go if they want.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Jason and I both made the articles. Yeah. Great. Really awesome stuff. Took a few pictures, Madam Director. Just trying to make it sound really awesome so she feels good about it.
Great job.
Right.
Why would anyone want to?
I know.
Exactly.
Never happened before. Okay, we're going to move into the Q&A part of this. It's a separate meeting. You can stay or you can leave if you want. It's up to you.
How close do we get to it?
We're starting the second meeting, but it's just going to be question and answers. There's not going to be any motions, so we don't need a quorum. I was just saying if you want to stay, you can stay.
I will.
You're going to hang out? Hang with us?
I will stay.
Awesome. All right. So thanks for those of you that are coming and have stayed. The thought behind this was after town meeting day, Julie approached me and said, you know, it would really be great if we could have a chance to ask some of the meetings that were asked at town meeting or have a conversation with the board, maybe at the Fairfield meeting, so that's what we're doing tonight. It's not part of the board meeting, it's a separate meeting, but this is a better opportunity, a better forum to have the back and forth discussion, which I think is what you're really looking for anyway. So, I have no agenda. It's just, I apologize for not getting the word out better. I mean, we decided to do this, I think, a month ago, and it was in our meetings, but I think one of the issues that we struggle with is getting the word out in this community. Okay, one of the things I think we struggle with as a school district is getting the word out in Fairfield. It seems like that's what I heard at town meeting when I was here from a number of people afterwards. So it doesn't surprise me. So. But let's open it up. Anybody who'd like to talk or questions or?
It seems like we, are a community that supports our school and likes to get information at town meeting about our school. And I realized from what Amanda said, Amanda Forbes, that there was some legality about discussing maybe budget issues at town meeting, but I would like the board to look at a way where we can at least discuss the programs at Fairfield or have some feedback to the town, because the community is important to the school and the school is important to the community. And if we don't have that information at town meeting, we're going to lose our community. And I think legally there's probably some way for us, for Sean to mention highlight some programs or for kids to be here or something. But, you know, I think unlike city and town, we're pretty interwoven in a lot of ways. Even though we don't see you guys so much, Sean sees a number of us. So that would be great if you could look into that.
So Julie, can I offer just a little history and that you're probably aware of? When we first went to Australian ballot, there was some confusion on whether we could talk about the budget, but what I think it came out to is that the board can't support or not support the budget. I mean, they can answer questions about that. And I know you're talking about other programs too, but I don't know how that got lost in the mix, but I think certainly, in my opinion, I think, yeah, that's you have a valid point. That's something that we could probably do. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but.
We should find out. I think there were limits on who was allowed to speak and how many questions they were allowed to take, things like that, right?
Well, Bridget usually handles that, the moderator.
It could be a warning item. You might need to have a warning item, to allow, discussion of school programs.
Yeah, I think maybe some of the issue might be because it's two different municipalities now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe the solution is a different meeting about the same time.
But it sounds like there's two questions. One is concerning an informational meeting on the budget.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with budget.
Okay.
It's more communicating about
What's going on in the school.
culture and what's going on. Yeah, I have a budget suggestion too, but maybe some other people have some input.
I don't know if we just need to do something like open house type things. Is that what you're?
Well, I think it has to be with town meeting.
It has to be with town meeting, but maybe if we did some student displays and had an open classroom. I know a lot of teachers aren't here, but a lot of us are.
Mm-hmm.
And, we could, I'll bring the Fuel Up team. They'll be wherever they need to be.
government.
But student government, I mean, I get what Julie's saying because the school was always, it is our hub. And town meeting used to be the family time, the hub, generational hub. And we've gone to Australian ballot and that's taken away a lot of those families coming in. But if their kids are around and their classrooms are open, for parents and just maybe there's a time that the board is just kind of wandering or a couple of the board members that they can put a face to. I mean, just that on town meeting from even 9 to 10 or at lunchtime, just kind of taking a break and, and maybe it does need to go on the agenda so that it doesn't get pushed aside for lunch. Okay, we're done, it's lunchtime.
And we have tried to do that. We have
Yeah.
had people at town meetings.
Yes, thank you.
We just have to be careful though, because town meeting day is a meeting to conduct town business. And the school is no longer town business. So there's got to be some kind of separation there.
Well,
but there could be, we can figure out a way to make it work.
So
It's just going to be different.
One of the problems was that the town meeting used to be two meetings, school and town. But now we can't have a separate school meeting organized separately as Fairfield.
But we could have, so every year there's a library report as part of the warrant, one of the warrant, as part of the agenda, it's the library report. So we don't talk about the budget or anything like that, but we have some sort of library report about Northrop. So we could probably do the same thing. We could do a school report, what's going on in the school.
So I'm very willing, as long as we know what the legalities are and we don't break them. And like you said, Mrs. Hoda, I just lost her. Linda, thank you. She may be a person who would know, wait, who's the moderator? Bridget. Bridget. She might be the one who knows, whatever the rules are about questions or whatever, but and Amanda would know that. So as long as we find that out, I'm certainly happy to give a school report and have some kids. I mean, depending on what the legalities are, I don't have any problem with that. So willing and able.
Me too.
And who knows, maybe it would be as simple as setting up a table in the library where people can walk over there. That's still separate from the town meeting, yet you're there. I mean, we're there and we can answer questions.
You know, I'd like to throw out too, I think we do a bad job communicating everywhere. It's not just here. We always have problems when we need people to come out and vote for something that they don't know what's going on. They don't know why we're doing something or even that we're doing it. It always seems a shock to people when they get there and see something on the ballot. So.
We're just trying like crazy.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying it's not just here.
Do we advertise the meetings in the messenger? We do that.
They're all warned in the messenger.
While we're on the budget, finding a budget copy was really difficult last year. If you had the web and you knew where to go, but the seniors, people were, they expected it to be in their town report, and of course it wasn't. So a suggestion that I did hear around town was you don't want to make 300 copies, but if you put some copies in the town clerks, people could stop and get a copy from Amanda. Or at the library, they said that they'd be glad to make copies if people requested them. Some over at the Senior Citizen Center and Chester's. And the stores. And if we only supplied 5, if we knew they were getting low, the town clerk or the library would make more copies. But that's where people, it wasn't until the last minute, and our town report really comes out kind of last minute, that they opened up and it was this thick and there was no school budget. And that was hard on a lot of people. So just getting hard copies out there where they can make their own copy or something is available really would help, I think, appease some of the angst about not knowing what's going on.
And another suggestion on that budget, all that was available that I could find online was the summary of expenditures and revenues, and there was no detail. And we're used to looking at detail. So I don't know if that's available, just online, the detailed budget.
So I don't think it could be as detailed as we're used to.
But
there's 4 schools,
right,
and the schools aren't even broken out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but I think even if someone saw that once, they wouldn't go back there. Or, I don't know.
But there was a fairly detailed budget that, did you get it at the informational meeting? Did you pick up a copy?
I didn't. I was out of town for the information.
Did you get it? You were there.
It's the only time I've missed one.
Yeah. So I mean, even that, because that was more detailed than what was in town report.
Right.
Yeah, just something
What wasn't
where
in town
people
report, I
can
guess.
at least get an idea of the changes that
Yeah.
occurred over the course of the year.
No, it was several pages.
Right. There was one that was several
Yeah.
pages.
It was in the back of the room.
Yeah. And then the other frustration that I heard around the floor was the people who were voting on the budget hadn't seen the ballot, and that really confused them. And I know you did have a ballot page in the town meeting, but it didn't exactly represent what. Like the board positions weren't on it. I think the actual expenditure was on it to be approved, but the first time we saw who was running for the board was on the ballot. I mean, at the ballot place. And I don't know if that can legally be published in the town report or not. Like, I didn't know you were running.
Yeah. My guess is I put it in at the very last minute.
No.
Yeah, and I know from Amanda, from the library report, I know that, like, we have to get our library report to Amanda by, well, it's earlier than she tells us, like, around the 20th of January. So by the 27th of January, we'll have it to her. And I don't know if that doesn't always coincide with, like if I'm not sure when I had to have the ballot in.
Right, but I think the ballot, the positions were determined, the open positions, right?
Yes.
Before then.
Yeah.
But
I think you can get a copy of the ballot.
yeah, it'd be great, because there was so much confusion. I think you even when they went into the booth, you know, who we vote for.
Right, that was.
Maybe not in town report though, because our town report goes in by the end of January. But it could be attached to even, like if it was left at the 5 places with the detailed budget.
But in all fairness, we did go over that, all of that at the information.
But you're not going to get the 70-year-olds.
Understood.
I was there and I'm 70.
Okay. It seems like it's all boiling down to communications.
So, but sample ballots, I know there were some posted at the St. Albans Free Library. I don't know if we put them up there. We wouldn't do that here.
Yeah, I don't know that there was one in the door.
Yeah.
There was one at the clerk's office, but,
Yep.
yeah, you know, and I don't know about the post office, but. There wasn't. I mean, I think there could be a greater effort to get it posted around town at the places that people frequent. The senior center, the community center, Tuesday lunch, you know.
So what,
Food
I
shop
think,
is another place to drop things off.
Yeah.
whatever of these solutions that you come up with for Fairfield should be the same things that we do for city and town. Because it's not like city and town has, you know, inside track on anything different, right? I mean, if we're gonna publish or post a ballot on at Fairfield School, let's post it at all the schools. We're gonna post it at City Hall, post it at all the city halls, all the libraries, all the quick stops and corner stores or whatever. Well, I mean, I just wanted to formalize that.
Yeah, the only thing that's maybe a little different with Fairfield is the town meeting. The other stuff.
Right, but I think the issue, as I'm hearing it, is access to some information in advance. So.
Sure.
Plus some discussion around this.
So, how about we ask you some questions? This is almost a year now into your first year at Maple Run. How are things going? Concerns? Is anything different? Is anything?
We can make Sean leave if you want.
We hate it.
He hears it all anyway.
It's so great to have Heather here.
It's good to have Heather.
Everybody needs a break for a while.
I'm pleased with your choice. I'm sad I'm losing Julie, but I'm very happy that Joanne will be here. I think school's going well. It's hard right now. It's SBAC. We all know at the end of the year, but I think we've got some things in place. I'm happy with our safety drills. I like the fact that we've run through them and we've recognized some glitches when we did have the true evacuation. We sat right down right after and worked it out so we never have another one. But, you know, John's worked out things. We've got things in place. That makes it a little more comfortable.
Where'd you evacuate them to? Did you have to evacuate kids?
We, was this November?
November.
It was November. We evacuated the elementary kids to the town clerk's office in the basement, and we put the middle school in 5th grade over at the church in the church basement, St. Patrick's. We had I wouldn't necessarily call it a bomb threat, but there was something that was worrisome, and so we had to evacuate the building, and it was cold, so we got them to their offsite evacuation site pretty quickly because they hadn't had a chance to get codes. And we dismissed from those offsite locations.
Did they walk?
They walked.
They walked.
They walked, and we had practiced it. Thank God we had practiced it like a month
practiced
before.
it. And we can get them from the building to the first site in less than 10 minutes. and to the church in 15 minutes, and nobody got hurt or was running, but they know what the plan is, and they weren't upset about it. They didn't know it wasn't a drill, and that's the beauty of practicing the drills.
It was the first time we had ever practiced an evacuation drill after years of asking and asking, and we haven't. And when we needed it, we all knew what to do, and that was really.
And we realized things during the drill, but then we realized more during the real event. The same with lockdowns. I mean, the kids know the process. They know where to go if they're not in their own classroom. You know, clear the halls is the same way. Sean's done a great job of helping us smooth out a lot of things that have kind of, we've even let kind of drift off. But we're getting there.
The atmosphere is very positive, and we have a thank you board out, a gratitude thank you board that was up for Teacher Appreciation Week, and one of the students wrote one to Dr. Odell saying, "Thank you for greeting us every morning," because he stands at the front door every morning and high fives kids and says good morning to every student in the school, even the ones who are here early, and says good morning to all the teachers and make sure that we're set for our day, and he takes good care of us. So
he does take good care of us.
He takes good care of all of us, the whole community.
He takes good care of the children, and he takes good care of the parents, and sometimes it's not what the parent wants to hear, but he says it in a way that they think they do. And we're standing there going, yes. But, and it's been nice as I looked around. I mean, I've been going to the meetings, most of them, but I've seen a lot more of you in the building, and, you know, just the faces is really nice to have you guys come up and visit us and just poke in. And I know when we see you guys, it's probably not a great thing, but, you know, it's a familiar face, and it makes kids realize that strangers aren't always bad things, and, you know, just coming up over the hill, and it's a good place to come work again.
So the other night at the National Technical Center Honor Society thing, Doug Bell, who I think is one of the technical center teachers, he was the guest speaker, or he was the speaker, and what he said was he had a student come up to him when this student was graduating, because his thing every day, he'd stand at the door and greet kids hey, how you doing? Good morning, good morning. And this girl came up to her as she was about ready to graduate and said to him, "Thank you very much for greeting me every morning, because you're the first person that's nice to me every day."
That's it.
Yeah.
Dr. Odell has us all meeting our kids at our doors. I mean, it's important.
And then just from the community perspective, I'm really removed, you know, from the school. But I just can see the benefits of being part of a larger district already. I mean, just that Sean's here and will remain here every year. That we had the assistant principal take his place. I mean, that those kinds of exchanges are so much easier with a unified board, unified district. It would have been, well, Jeff knows, my, you know, working with FCSU and trying to do those kinds of things.
We did try. I think we all tried over the years.
Yeah.
Just to have someone come up and sit and do their work in the principal's office and take care of the problems.
Yeah.
We didn't have very much thought.
Yeah. So I see great promise there.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask. I know at the beginning, there was a lot of angst among staff and community members about going from, you know, this is our school to now a part of a bigger thing, and there was a lot of concern. And I'm wondering if maybe they're a little more comfortable now, or I hope. I mean, so if there's
The communication, more communication would help, and the town meeting thing would help a lot too. You know, even those, that 150 people there.
I think when there's communication about like staffing changes or, you know, programming, it makes them more aware of our school, what the district can bring to us, what's going on, what's being changed in the school. I think that's the communication that's really important to keep the the love of, not the love, but the people getting more and more used to being a larger district. You know, when I was hired, the whole community interviewed me. I mean, that was the way it was. You know, you did that. But, you know, just knowing who's in the middle level and who's at the common school and, you know, just kind of doing those things. And I think Sean does a good job of keeping that going, but when there are going to be changes district-wide, maybe that needs to be, you know, shared too. Because we all filter into BFA. I mean, you know, and...
Can I ask a question? I didn't see the original email, Julie, but there was something about how could Fairfield be represented with only one vote?
That was just a question that was brought up at town meeting.
It was brought up at town meeting?
It wasn't like this.
Okay, I mean, because I just want to emphasize...
No, I understand, but I think that's not standard.
But there's a camera on, and I want people to know that all 3 towns are represented by all people on this board. And if I had a chance to talk to that person at town meeting, I would have been happy to explain that. You absolutely, please.
But I think, Mike, my thing of seeing more and more of you, that makes me more comfortable. It used to be that you went to the one person that you knew. You knew that. Well, I look at Mrs. Lindbergh, I could go to her. I could go to Mrs. Canelda. You know, I could go because I've seen the faces, and now I put you together as a board. And that's important to our town. So.
And that was the goal in the whole articles, unification. That was important, I think, to all 3 schools.
Mm-hmm. To all.
You know, and I was delightfully surprised it was important to St. Albans City and town too, because there's, you know, you hear from some people. I was hearing from some other board members who are no longer on the board that this was that this may have been a problem for them, but it wasn't. They voted for it. We all voted for it, and I think that's what we were shooting for, and I think we got it. And as far as I know, the Fairfield School Board was united in favor of unification. I don't know if we're the only board that was, but it was, and it was for those reasons. And more.
Julie, something you mentioned about nice that Heather could come out here and that the merged district helped that. One thing you guys might not know that just makes me feel good is it works the other way too. When BFA had a bomb threat, oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't the bomb threat, it was the student who died at BFA. People like Sean and other principals immediately called BFA. What do you need? Do you need me to come up to help in any way? And some people came over, allowing guidance to then go do their thing. And that just happened. It was not something that, I mean, it just occurred as it should. Well, it was organic, I guess. And I'm pleased to see that with everybody.
Of course, it's been adjustments for me over the period of the last year, 2 years, say. Financially, of knowing, and planning on physical things that we've been doing with our building. I knew more because it was more hands-on, I guess, with the financial issue parts of it. So it seems to, and as you're going with that, I don't know exactly anymore what a pot of money is to work with. So I hate backtracking with contractors that, I did a lot of that past year ago, where I had set up multiple things that may get done, which took a lot of extra work that I didn't need to do or have them here. But those things like that. And I know I've been here 30 years, and so I've seen a lot from everything from running the transportation to, management boards and a lot of different things, and had to, you know, grow with it, and you know, a lot of acceptance with the changes, and the thing it is I, you know, it helps for me to know at least a bit of what I can plan for. In some ways, working with Sean, I think a little more. I know there's going to be changes by a huge, you know, pot of financially being different. And there was a lot more, probably at one point, a lot more one-on-one with Martha. I worked a lot with, and I knew those things were changing as when things were changing. But the, you know, it's just like a lot of times I get frustrated with backtracking and what's what. I mean, you know, we got 1, 2, 3 things. It's not to look at a half a dozen. We got this much money to work with. Let's work with that much money.
So do you feel like you're getting less information now?
Yes.
Yeah. Just wanted to clarify.
The only thing I would say, John, is that Sean is 100% in the loop. I think anything you ask him, he's going to know the answer to as far as.
Yeah, I know that's how it works better, Bill.
Well, I don't
Because
think
he's part of the administration.
kind of shifted into this past whole year and a half. And just things like, it feels like I got lost in the show.
Are you talking about capital reserve funds, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, those are, yeah.
The process for that?
I know, of course, that financially, we knew, you know, if we had $150,000 to work with, and how much we were going to both work with, and where we had to put it the most. You know. I know I've had to accept a lot of changes in time. In job description. So it's, but I just feel that it's, there's just one thing that I ain't gonna go on with it. Thanks.
Anything else, folks? Thanks for coming.